Yeah, money, cars, and clothes, and all the cribs. But never trust these lames and hoes, cause they ain't shit. Plus they'll just sink our dreams of things and jump ship. So we'll fly first class, full glass with blunts lit. Float on.
What's going on, y'all? It's M.I.B, baby. Today we're doing a What Culture WWE video. I haven't done one of these, but I've always been into their channel, so I'm gonna love this. This one's called 10 Most Hated Heel Moves in WWE History. With me personally, I've always loved heel work. I think my favorite of all time, especially over the years, it might be Edge. I used to hate it when I was a kid, of course, because I've always been a John Cena fan, even to this day. But as a kid especially, if you were beefing with Cena, I would hate you. I would go out of my way to do some crazy shit in games if you piss me off. But times change. I'm ready to see what other ones that I missed out on over the years. Probably some Attitude Era ones. Before I start though, go ahead, like and subscribe. Comment below what you want me to see next time I get to it. Let's get right to this one. I'm excited.
Drawing heat ain't easy. Anybody can badmouth the fans, deliver a low blow, stick their tongue out, or just be a little bit of a jerk. But if you're really dedicated to making people hate you, you've got to be the worst guy in the universe. Just like the people I'm about to talk about today. I'm Andy from What Culture Wrestling, and here are the 10 most hated heel moves in wrestling history. Number 10, putting the fun in funeral. You've all seen it, you all know it, and you've probably all laughed at it as well, but the big boss man invading the funeral of Big Show's father to gate crash the ceremony, bark out of a hilariously huge megaphone, and of course harass the family was hated. But wait, that's not all, because the most famous part of all of this, of course, is boss man chaining up the coffin, dragging it out of the funeral itself, and Big Show valiantly jumping onto the back of it to try and stop his dad's body from being driven out.
So look, I got into wrestling in late 2003, so a bunch of this kind of stuff I missed. But rewatching videos about like the Attitude Era, or even stuff like, God forbid, Katie Vick. There's a bunch of stuff I'm about to see in this video. This, I didn't know this was a thing. I'm late to the party, but this is insane for a wrestling show. How do you put this into a storyline, man?
Way. And it looks silly and over the top now, and yeah, it kind of was. This thing was hated, and that's why it's right here. Number 9. You're going to hell for this. In September 2012, Jerry Lawler, one of the voices most associated with the WWE product over the previous 20 years, suffered a legitimate heart attack live on air.
I remember that.
It was a horrible moment, skillfully covered by his colleagues on the show. And when Lawler returned to commentating duties 2 months later, WWE concocted a big old pile of heat for Lawler and CM Punk to stew in. Punk was pure evil that night, crapping all over the miracle recovery and blaming Lawler for his own heart attack. He called the whole thing a stunt, delivering the promo in the most obnoxious manner possible.
Sounds like some CM Punk stuff to me, but that's what made me appreciate him a lot. But I'm not surprised this happened, especially after watching in like 05, 06 when they would exploit Eddie's death. Obviously what Randy Orton said, or even in like, I think it was like 09 when Batista was just like, Eddie's dead. They don't care what they do. They will use any sort of real life, well, obviously not angle. I almost said angle, but any real life event and turn it into an angle. Of course.
But it's what happened next that turned Punk's next level snark into weapons-grade dickishness. Paul Heyman, his manager, began to fake a heart attack in the middle of the ring behind Punk as he was speaking, causing the champion to stop mid-sentence to check on him. Prick. Number 8, laying out the legend.
And it's also, wait. It's also weird that I didn't see that because I was watching WWE pretty religiously in 2012. I'm surprised I don't remember that because that's kind of a big deal. Ups to you, Punk. That's, well, God forbid I would say funny, but it's good heel work. You get some heat for that.
And the student Larry Zbyszko turning on his mentor Bruno Sammartino instantly made Larry the most hated man in American wrestling.
Cheap ass hats.
With the ridiculously massive Northeastern audience mobilized in their hatred of Larry and their support of Bruno. Zbyszko saw red, having fumed in his mentor's shadow for too long, attacking a man who'd been like a brother to him with a wooden chair, shedding blood in the process. And for the remainder of the feud, Larry was a marked man. Other heels in those old school days used to tell stories of being attacked by fans. Larry, meanwhile, had a taxi turned over while he was still in it. Not a popular guy after attacking Bruno. Number 7, the Tyrant.
Was this before like kayfabe was like, well, people knew it was a thing and everything like that? This looks to be the time where people thought wrestling was so serious. The business was protected to where people had to get escorted out of arenas because fans were that wild.
current king of WWE. Back in late 2007, William Regal was made Raw General Manager,
Manga.
becoming the kind of heel authority figure we were all used to, just with a little bit more megalomania. He inserted himself into King of the Ring 2008, and he won the whole competition. Deploying a new, more tyrannical persona, Regal was a soft-spoken menace with a hair-trigger temper who found innovative ways of abusing his power while he was on top. His finest hour came when, on an episode of Raw, he cut the power, turned off the lights, cut the whole damn broadcast off, and cancelled the show in the middle of the main event just to make a point. Just because he could.
I love heel authority figures. They do some of the most petty shit in the world. Whether it be Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, William Regal. In this case, I didn't watch wrestling around this time. I think I took a couple months break from it, from like late 07 to like late 08. But that's funny.
It was brilliant stuff, but Regal unfortunately fell afoul of the wellness policy for the second time soon after, which meant we never got to see the follow-up.
That's a damn shame,
real
too.
shame. Number 6, speaking ill of the dead.
Exactly.
Rule number 1, don't pee into the wind. Rule number 2, don't tug on Superman's cape. Rule number 3, don't mess with the Undertaker's urn.
Oh,
that's
that's
exactly
what
what CM Punk did on the road to WrestleMania 29. Really, however,
This
it
one
was
I do
more
remember
kidnapping
clearly.
than the theft, as while the urn really only contained the ashes of Paul Bearer, it was implied for weeks that Bearer was actually being held up in there like some kind of mystical totem. And on the go-home episode of Raw, when Punk capped an assault on The Undertaker by literally dumping the contents of the
old.
urn on top of him, yeah, it's fair to say that his ass
And on the road to this WrestleMania, this was one of my favorite storylines. I'm telling you, CM Punk was something special around this time. I loved it.
whipping was well earned. Number 5, the finger poke of doom. Was this the right kind of heat? Well, absolutely not. Don't be daft, but the finger poke of doom remains one of the most hated moments in wrestling history. As Kevin
Put me
Nash
on.
and Hulk Hogan made a farce of WCW, the world title, the fans, executives, and anybody else who was paying attention. You all know the story by now, but a simple prod to the chest was all it took to fell Nash, who passed the WCW title over to Hogan at a time when the fans were turning on WCW in droves, sick of all the dodgy swerves and anticlimactic finishes. So, you can imagine
That edit.
in sickness and in health. The reason that a comatose Linda McMahon rising from her chair to boot her evil husband right in the bollocks at WrestleMania X7 resonates so well is because of what came before. Vince had demanded a divorce from Linda. He was engaged in a lurid, awful affair with Trish Stratus, and he sent his grief-stricken spouse into a catatonic state, keeping
I always forget about this. Like, I mean, I didn't catch too much of the storyline, but obviously, you know about the Trish barking like a dog thing, but this man Vince would place himself into some wild storylines. I think the last one I remember personally was it Candice Michelle, where he was, never mind.
the wheelchair bound Linda around and sedated to punish and humiliate her while carrying on with Trish right in front of her. There was some deeply gross stuff in there, but it all came to a head at Mania, where Vince took on Shane in a street fight, his son sick of his family.
One more thing I really appreciate about Vince is this man has feuded with all of his children at one point. I remember the I Quit match with him and Stephanie. This man Vince is on one.
Disgusting behavior, and as we all know, Linda got the last laugh. Number 3, the Rock and Wrestling interjection. Few people could draw heat like Roddy Piper, and one of his biggest heat-seeking moments in a career full of napalm came in 1985 at the height of rock and wrestling. Cyndi Lauper was being presented with an award for her achievements in promoting women's wrestling after her participation at the first WrestleMania earlier that year. Presenting Captain Lou Albano with his own award, they were ambushed by Piper, broke the award over Albano's head, body slammed Lauper's manager Dan Wolfe, and, oh yeah, kicked Cyndi as well. That's what sealed the deal, really, because in the grand scheme, it was the bump of all bumps.
Yo,
Lauper was
Roddy
already
was
around
wild.
beside the fallen Captain Lou, and all Piper really had to do was gently shove her away and over to the side with his foot before he grabbed Wolfe. To the fans, it was like witnessing first-degree murder. Lauper was a tiny human being compared to Piper and a bona fide pop star. And Piper had just gate-crashed her award ceremony to kick her and her manager. It was unprecedented, and it made Roddy the most hated
Stop
heel
with
in the
those
country for
edits.
a long time. Number 2, breaking the American dream. In one of the most famous and heated wrestling angles of all time at the legendary Omni in Atlanta on the 29th of September 1985, the Four Horsemen technically came together, beating down Dusty Rhodes in an all-time classic moment. Ric Flair, that devil, had just defeated Nikita Koloff in a steel cage. Out came the Russians to attack him, but no,
Yo, this is off topic, but look how different those cages look back then. And I thought those light blue cages in the 80s were kind of weird, but this one, it goes way back.
Dusty Rhodes, the ultimate folk hero, closing the show with what looked like the ultimate feel-good moment as him and Flair came together to fight them off. But no, here come the Andersons. The cage door was locked and all three men brutalized Dusty's ankle, turning the crowd into a rabid, bloodthirsty mob. At one point, they were so feral that Arn Anderson was legitimately fearing for his life as they threatened to tear the building to the ground.
See, that's what I was talking about earlier. These fans were ruthless.
20 minutes just
They
to
took
fight
this
them off
seriously.
long enough to escape. And at number one, the Foreign Devil. Jim Murray, a journalist, once called Classy Freddie Blassie the worst villain since Hitler. Blassie, God rest his soul, would have seen that as a huge compliment because for ages he was the most hated wrestler walking the planet. A natural on the microphone as well as a trendsetter and a snappy dresser, Blassie was the perfect villain for the burgeoning platform that television had given wrestling in the 50s. It's his effect on the Japanese audience, however, that gets him number one on this list. Billed as the vampire because of his fondness for biting his opponents with his filed down teeth drawing blood, Freddie Blassie was a heel's.
Hold on, wait. So, I've always thought when Brock would open people up hard way with his elbow, I thought that was overboard. But I mean, I've watched New Jack stuff and just biting someone's face, I would do anything to get out of working with him. Throw me down in the car, don't open me up. I don't have that type of dedication to it. Trust me on that one.
Monster, the Hannibal Lecter of pro wrestling before the death of kayfabe made the term monster kind of a caricature. He claimed with some justification to have caused a spread of heart attacks amongst televised viewers of his matches in Japan with Ricky Dozan and the Great Togo. Freddie himself once said, in his own words, "In my whole career, 92 people dropped dead of heart attacks. My ambition was to kill 100, and I failed."
What?
That's his goal, and yeah, we're never gonna see the likes of him again. Rest in peace.
Are you kidding me?
So that's our list.
Just the dedication to being a heel to the point where you said, I want 100 of them people dead. You lost it. But this video was interesting. Most of these things I didn't know. I only knew a few, but that's what makes me enjoy it. Comment below your favorite heel moments in histories and your favorite heel wrestler. Please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, y'all. Be smooth.